The crimson sand of Chrono 7 crunched beneath Dr. Alina Vasquez's boots as she knelt beside the strange crystalline formation. Her breath fogged inside her helmet while she carefully extracted samples from the glowing mineral deposits. The twin suns cast eerie shadows across the barren landscape, making everything look like an alien painting come to life. "Alina, we should head back soon," Captain James Mitchell's voice crackled through her comm system. "The atmospheric readings are getting unstable again." Alina wiped sweat from her forehead and glanced at her portable scanner. The readings were unlike anything she had seen in her 15 years as a xenobiologist. These crystals contained organic compounds that shouldn't exist naturally. Yet here they were, pulsing with an almost living energy. "Just 5 more minutes, James," she replied, carefully placing another sample into her collection kit. "These formations could revolutionize our understanding of how life develops on other worlds." The research station behind them hummed quietly, its solar panels gleaming in the alien sunlight. They had been on Chrono 7 for 3 months now, part of a small scientific expedition studying the planet's unique ecosystem. What they had found so far challenged everything scientists thought they knew about life in the universe. Alina stood up and brushed the red sand from her knees. As she turned to head back to the station, something caught her eye in the distance. A movement, quick and fluid, disappearing behind a cluster of towering rock formations. "James, did you see that?" she asked, pointing toward the rock's captain. Mitchell raised his binoculars and scanned the area. A former military officer turned expedition leader, he never ignored potential threats. His weathered face showed concern as he studied the landscape. "I don't see anything now, but we should be careful." The long-range scans detected some unusual heat signatures in that direction yesterday. Alina felt her scientist's curiosity override. Her caution, whatever had moved out there was big, and possibly the first sign of complex life they had encountered on this world. She took a step toward the rock formations. "Alina, no," James warned. "We stick to protocol. Unknown contacts get reported first, investigated second." But Alina was already walking forward, her scanner in hand. The device began beeping rapidly as she approached the rocks, indicating high levels of biological activity. Her heart raced, with excitement rather than fear. The attack came without warning. A creature the size of a small vehicle burst from behind the rocks, its 6 legs carrying it forward with terrifying speed. Alina had just enough time to see crystalline scales and glowing orange eyes before it slammed into her, sending her flying backward across the sand. Her helmet cracked against a boulder, and she felt something warm running down her face. Blood. The creature circled her like a predator, its serpentine head weaving back and forth as it studied her with alien intelligence. James was running toward them, his emergency weapon drawn, but Alina knew he would never reach her in time. The creature's massive jaws opened, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth that gleamed like polished metal. Then everything changed. The creature suddenly stopped moving and tilted its head, nostrils flaring as it scented the air. Its aggressive posture shifted to something almost like confusion. It took a step back, then another, its orange eyes fixed on the blood trickling from Alina's forehead. A new sound filled the air, a musical humming that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The creature backed away further, its massive form trembling as if in fear or reverence. From the shadows between the rocks stepped a figure that made Alina's breath catch in her throat. She was tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered like polished copper in the alien sunlight. Her face was humanoid but unmistakably alien, with large golden eyes and delicate features that spoke of intelligence and nobility. She wore form-fitting armor made from the same crystalline material Alina had been studying, and it pulsed with soft blue light as she moved. The alien woman approached slowly, her eyes never leaving Elena's face. She knelt beside the fallen scientist and did something that shocked Alina to her core. She reached out and gently touched the blood on Alina's forehead, then brought her finger to her nose and inhaled deeply. Her golden eyes widened in amazement. "Impossible," she whispered, "imperfect." English, though her voice carried musical undertones that no human throat could produce. "After all these cycles, after all this time, you have returned to us." Alina struggled to sit up, her head spinning from the impact. "What are you talking about? Who are you?" The alien woman placed a gentle hand on Elena's shoulder, and Elena felt a strange warmth spread through her body. The pain in her head began to fade, and she realized the woman was somehow healing her. "I am Zephira of the Catherian Council," the woman said, her voice filled with wonder and reverence. "And you, human child, carry within your blood the genetic signature of our creators. You are the daughter of those who gave birth to our entire species." James finally reached them, his weapon raised and ready. "Step away from her," he commanded, but his voice lacked conviction. The scene before him was too strange, too peaceful for violence. Zephira looked up at him with sad, understanding eyes. "I mean her no harm, warrior. I could never harm one who carries the sacred blood. Your species and mine are bound by chains older than your recorded history." Alina felt her scientific mind reeling. "That's impossible. Humans have only been in space for a few centuries. We've never been to this part of the galaxy before." "Your conscious memory speaks truth," Zephira replied, helping Alina to her feet with surprising gentleness. "But blood remembers what mind forgets. The DNA flowing through your veins carries markers that our scientists have searched for across 1,000 worlds and 10,000 years. The crystalline creature that had attacked Alina now lay prostrate on the ground, its massive head pressed to the sand in what was clearly a gesture of submission or worship. "The Guardian recognizes you as well," Zephira explained, following Elena's gaze. "These creatures were bred by our ancestors to protect the sacred sites until the return of the parent species. It was testing you, not trying to harm you." Alina touched her forehead where the blood had been. The wound was completely healed, leaving only a faint tingling sensation. "This is crazy. You're telling me that humans somehow created your species." "Not created," Zephira corrected. "Guided, uplifted, gave us the gift of consciousness and intelligence. Our oldest records speak of the star wanderers who came from beyond the rim of the galaxy. They shared their genetic essence with our primitive ancestors, elevating us from simple beasts to thinking beings." James lowered his weapon but kept it ready, his military training ward with the impossibility of what he was witnessing. "Even if that's true, it was thousands of years ago. Alina is just one person. She can't represent all of humanity." Zephira's golden eyes shifted to him, and Alina saw something that looked like pity in their depths. "One drop of water contains the essence of the ocean, warrior. One strand of DNA holds the blueprint of an entire species. She carries within her the genetic memory of the covenant made between our peoples." Alina felt a strange stirring in her chest, as if something long dormant was awakening. What covenant? The promise that when the children had grown strong enough, the parents would return to walk beside them once more, Zephira said, to stand together against the darkness that comes from the void between stars. The alien woman gestured toward the horizon, where strange lights were beginning to dance in the alien sky. That darkness approaches even now. Our sensors detect ships moving between the outer worlds, ships that belong to neither your people nor mine. Alina felt the weight of destiny settling on her shoulders like a heavy cloak. Everything she thought she knew about human history, about their place in the universe, was crumbling around her. But beneath the confusion and fear, she felt something else growing stronger, a sense of coming home. "What do you need from me?" she asked, surprising herself with the steadiness of her own voice. Zephyra smiled, and the expression transformed her alien features into something radiant and beautiful. "Come with me to the sacred city of Nexira. Let our elders see what I have seen, smell what I have smelled. Help us prepare for what is coming." James stepped forward. "Alina, you can't be seriously considering this. We don't know anything about these people or their intentions." But Alina was already nodding. The blood singing in her veins told her this was right. This was what she was meant to do. "We came here to study alien life, James. This is the discovery of a lifetime, maybe of all lifetimes." Zephyra extended her hand, and Alina took it without hesitation. The alien woman's skin was warm and smooth, and Alina felt a jolt of recognition pass between them, as if they were two parts of the same ancient song finally finding harmony. "The sacred city lies beneath the crystal mountains," Zephyra said. "There you will learn the true history of both our peoples, and perhaps discover why fate has brought you to us at this crucial moment." As they began walking toward the distant peaks, Alina looked back once at the research station. She had the feeling that when she returned, if she returned, nothing would ever be the same. The twin suns were setting, painting the alien sky in shades of purple and gold. Somewhere in the distance, the crystalline creature let out a musical howl that seemed to echo across the entire planet. It sounded like a song of welcome. It sounded like a song of war. The journey to Nexira took them through landscapes that defied everything. Alina thought she knew about planetary geology. Crystal formations rose like frozen waterfalls from the ground, their surfaces singing with harmonic vibrations as the wind passed through them. Bioluminescent plants carpeted the valley floors, creating rivers of blue and green light that pulsed in rhythm with some unseen heartbeats. Zephyra moved through this alien wonderland with the grace of someone returning home after a long absence. Her crystalline armor adapted to their surroundings, shifting colors and patterns to blend with the environment around them. Alina found herself studying the alien woman with scientific fascination and something deeper, a recognition that she couldn't quite name. "Your people built all this?" Alina asked as they crested a hill and saw the entrance to the underground city spread out below them. The opening was massive, easily large enough for spacecraft to pass through. Carved pillars decorated with flowing script supported an archway that seemed to be made from a single piece of translucent stone. Light emanated from deep within the tunnel, warm and welcoming like sunlight filtered through water. "Built and grown," Zephyra corrected. "The Catherians learned long ago that the best structures are partnerships between intention and nature. We guide, and the crystal responds to our will." James had remained silent for most of the journey, his hand never straying far from his weapon. Alina could see the conflict in his eyes. His training told him to be suspicious, but everything they had witnessed suggested peaceful intentions. "How many of your people live down there?" he asked. "Nexira houses nearly 50,000 souls," Zephyra replied. "It is our greatest city, though not our only one. When the Star Wanderers first came to our world, This was where they established their primary research facility. Alina felt her pulse quicken. Research facility. What were they studying? Us, Zephyra said simply. Our ancestors were intelligent, but primitive. The Star Wanderers spent decades learning our biology, our culture, our potential. Only when they were certain we could handle the gift did they begin the process of genetic enhancement. They entered the tunnel, and Alina gasped at what she saw. The walls were alive with moving patterns of light, like neural networks firing in slow motion. The air itself seemed to hum with energy, and she felt a strange tingling in her fingertips. The city recognizes you, Zephyra observed, watching the lights pulse brighter as Alina passed. It has been waiting for this moment for over 10,000 years. The tunnel opened into a vast cavern that took Alina's breath away. The city of Nexera spread out before them like something from a dream. Spires of living crystal rose toward the cavern roof, their surfaces covered with windows that glowed with warm light. Bridges of translucent stone connected the towers, and Alina could see figures moving across them with the same fluid grace that Zephora displayed. Welcome to the heart of Cytherian civilization, Zephora said, her voice filled with pride. And welcome home, daughter of the stars. A delegation was waiting for them at the city's edge. 3 figures in ceremonial robes that seemed to be woven from solidified light itself. The one in the center stepped forward, and Alina saw that he was older than Zephora, his copper skin marked with intricate tattoos that moved and shifted like living things. I am Elder Thane, he said, his voice carrying the weight of centuries. I have lived for 300 of your years, and I have spent every day of that time hoping to witness this moment. He approached Alina slowly, his large golden eyes studying her face with intense concentration. When he was close enough, he performed the same ritual that Zephora had done, gently touching the spot where her blood had been spilled and inhaling its scent. His reaction was even more dramatic than Zephora's had been. He stumbled backward, his eyes wide with shock and something approaching religious awe. The genetic markers are perfect, he whispered. Not just similar, not just compatible, perfect, as if she stepped directly from our oldest records into living flesh. James moved protectively closer to Alina. What exactly does that mean? Elder Thane composed himself and gestured for them to follow him into the city. It means that Dr. Vasquez carries within her DNA the exact genetic sequences that our ancestors recorded when the Star Wanderers first arrived on our world. She is not merely descended from them, she is them in the most literal sense possible. As they walked through the city streets, Alina noticed that every Cytherian they passed stopped what they were doing to stare at her. Many pressed their hands to their hearts in what was clearly a gesture of reverence. Children peered out from doorways with wide, curious eyes. This is making me uncomfortable, Alina murmured to Zephora. I'm just a scientist. I'm not some kind of messiah. To them, you are both, Zephora replied gently. For 10 millennia, we have been orphans, cut off from those who gave us consciousness. Your arrival means the covenant can finally be fulfilled. They reached the center of the city, where a massive crystalline structure rose like a mountain toward the cavern roof. Elder Thane led them inside, through corridors lined with murals that told the story of first contact between humans and the primitive. Kytherians. Alina studied the images with growing amazement. They showed humans in advanced environmental suits working alongside early Cytherians in laboratories. She saw scenes of genetic manipulation, of careful nurturing and education. But most shocking of all, she saw images of humans and Cytherians working together as equals, their children playing in gardens beneath alien stars. Interbreeding was possible, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Not just possible, but encouraged, Elder Thane confirmed. The Star Wanderers believed that the future belonged to cooperation, not domination. They dreamed of a galaxy where consciousness could take many forms but share common purpose. They entered a vast chamber at the heart of the structure. The walls were covered with what looked like screens, but Alina realized they were actually living crystal formations that displayed information directly. At the center of the room stood a device that made her heart skip a beat. It was clearly of human design, though far more advanced than anything she had seen before. The sleek metal surfaces and geometric patterns were unmistakably the work of human engineers, but the technology represented was centuries ahead of what Earth had achieved. The final gift of the Star Wanderers, Elder Thane explained, a genetic archive containing the complete DNA patterns of the humans who first came to our world. We have guarded it for over 10,000 years, waiting for the day when their descendants would return to claim it. Alina approached the device with trembling hands. A panel on its surface lit up as she drew near, and she saw text appearing in what looked like an ancient form of standard English. Genetic Archive Project, Nexira Station, Dr. Sarah Chen, Project Director, she read aloud. If you are reading this, then our hopes have been fulfilled, and humanity has finally returned to the stars on a scale grand enough to reach this distant world. James joined her at the console, his military bearing giving way to scientific curiosity. This technology is incredible. It's like they were centuries ahead of where Earth was during that time period. They were, a new voice said from behind. Then Alina turned to see another figure entering the chamber, this one wearing the practical clothing of a researcher rather than ceremonial robes. The Star Wanderers were not ordinary humans. They were pioneers, explorers who pushed the boundaries of what was possible. The newcomer was younger than Elder Thane but older than Zephyra, with the same copper skin and golden eyes but a face that held more curiosity than reverence. I am researcher Kale, he continued. I have spent my entire life studying the records left by your ancestors. According to their logs, they came from a colony ship called the New Horizon that was exploring the galactic rim over 12,000 years ago. Alina felt the pieces of a vast puzzle beginning to fall into place. But that's impossible. 12,000 years ago, humans were barely beginning to develop agriculture on Earth. On Earth, yes, Kale agreed. But the Star Wanderers spoke of multiple human worlds, of a civilization that had spread across distant sectors of the galaxy long before Earth achieved spaceflight. They were the survivors of some great catastrophe, refugees seeking new homes among the stars. The implications hit Alina like a physical blow. If this was true, then everything humans thought they knew about their own history was wrong. They weren't the first intelligent species to emerge from Earth. They were the descendants of an ancient star-spanning civilization that had somehow been lost to time. The bonding pool, Elder Thane explained as they entered, created by the Star Wanderers using technology that merged human science with Catherian crystal cultivation. When you enter the pool together, your genetic codes will merge temporarily, allowing you to access systems that require both human and Catherian authorization. Alina began removing her equipment belt, her hands steady despite the magnitude of what she was about to do. Beside her, Zephyra was unfastening her crystalline armor, revealing skin that seemed to glow with its own inner light. "Are you afraid?" Alina asked softly. "Terrified," Zephyra admitted with a slight smile. "But also, hopeful. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm about to become who I was always meant to be. They entered the pool together, the liquid crystal warm and tingling against their skin. Alina felt the change beginning immediately, a deep alteration at the cellular level as her human DNA began interweaving with Catherian genetic patterns. But rather than feeling invasive or foreign, it felt like coming home. Memories that weren't her own began flooding through Elena's consciousness. She saw the galaxy as it had been thousands of years ago, filled with life and wonder. She witnessed the first emergence of the ancient enemy, a force of pure entropy that consumed entire star systems. She felt the desperate hope of the star wanderers as they seeded the galaxy with genetic time bombs, species that could one day stand against the darkness. Through Zephyra's merged consciousness, she experienced 10 millennia of patient waiting, of a civilization that had dedicated itself to preserving knowledge and preparing for a prophesied return. She felt the loneliness of a people cut off from their creators, and the joy of finally discovering they were not alone in the universe. The merging reached its peak, and Alina felt her awareness expand beyond the boundaries of her individual self. She was Alina and Zephyra, human and Catherian, past and future united in a single moment of perfect understanding. Knowledge flooded through their shared consciousness. Fleet command codes, weapon specifications, tactical databases that contained strategies for fighting enemies that defied conventional physics. But more than that, they gained an understanding of the Star Wanderer's ultimate plan. The ancient humans hadn't just been fleeing the enemy. They had been laying a trap that spanned millennia, using entire civilizations as bait to draw their pursuers into a carefully prepared killing ground. Alina and Zephyra emerged from the pool changed. Their skin bore new markings, intricate patterns that seemed to shift between human neural networks and Catherian crystal formations. Their eyes held depths that spoke of shared knowledge and merged purpose. "The fleet is awakening," Alina said, her voice carrying harmonics that no purely human throat could produce. 37 ships of the line, each one capable of destroying planets, but we're not the only ones who have been waiting. She gestured toward the chamber walls, where new symbols were appearing as ancient systems came online across the galaxy. The Star Wanderers seeded dozens of worlds with guardian species. All of them are awakening now, responding to our activation signal. Elder Thane bowed deeply, his ancient eyes bright with tears of joy and relief. The covenant is fulfilled. The children and parents stand together at last. James approached Alina cautiously, studying the changes in his colleague and friend. "Are you still you?" he asked softly. Alina smiled, and the expression was both familiar and utterly alien. "I'm more me than I've ever been, and I'm something new as well. Something that can bridge the gap between species and show the galaxy what cooperation can achieve." Alarms began sounding throughout the Crystal City as the enemy fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Chrono 7. Through the merged consciousness she shared with Sephora, Alina could feel the malevolent hunger of the approaching ships. "They've been hunting us for so long," she said, her voice carrying the weight of ancient sorrow. "But they don't understand what they're about to face." The Star Wanderers didn't just preserve knowledge and weapons, they preserved hope. The battle for Chrono 7 would be more than just a conflict between fleets. It would be the moment when the galaxy's scattered children finally came home, when species separated by time and space united against an enemy that threatened all life itself. Alina took Zephyra's hand, feeling their merged consciousness pulse. With shared determination, together they walked toward the command center where the real war would begin. Not just for survival, but for the future of consciousness itself. Behind them, Elder Thane watched with pride as prophecy became reality. The ancient covenant was fulfilled, and the galaxy would never be the same.